Hi! So, Warner Brothers, or rather Andy Serkis, have been shopping around to try and make their own little Jungle Book, movie, like something that hadn't been done in years. Except troubled productions and all kinds of nonsense kind of led to the movie being delayed for quite a bit. Then we got, the other guys, the ones over there that make the other movies that have the internet split in half with like Snyder cuts and, the Warsing of the Stars. Yeah, them lot. They remade one of their own Disney animated films from the 60s into live action, directed by Jon Favreau. And yes, both films starred an all-star cast, except the one will be remembered fondly, probably, and the other one kind of got booted to Netflix and came out the other day. That is a crying shame.
Dutchman versus Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle.
I must admit, when the remake of The Jungle Book came out in 2016, is it now? I don't know. I'm not all that good with keeping track of dates. Ask my dad when I didn't phone him for his last 3 birthdays. But, like I said, I've not seen that live action Jungle Book remake, so I went into Mowgli, the Netflix adaptation by Andy Serkis, relatively fresh. Now, okay, so a little bit of background information about me. I used to be in the Cub Scouts. Yep, no shame about it. I was playing soccer or football when I was younger, and then I wanted to join the Cub Scouts. And my parents told me, well, you can't do both because they're both on Saturdays. And I know my dad was kind of nudging me to join the football because he was a referee, and both of my older brothers were, they played in football as well. I, of course, picked the Cub Scouts. And if you don't know much about the Netherlands, our Cub Scouts are basically divided into, age brackets. And the age bracket I started off in, they were called the Beavers, and at a certain age, you became like the Cubs, like the Cub Scouts. And all of that was Jungle Book themed. So I learned quite a bit about the original Jungle Book, like how Rudyard Kipling, the writer of the book Jungle Book, came up with it. So if your only experience is the Disney-fied version, well, I hate to state the obvious, it's rather Disney-fied. So in a way, Mowgli, the Andy Serkis adaptation of the Jungle Book, is a little bit more faithful in a way. It's a little bit of a more, again, it's always a reinterpretation, like that live action Jungle Book that came out in the 70s, which made Mowgli basically a Tarzan.
You're not an animal, you're a man.
I am not a man!
This film kind of, It plays with what you think is the Jungle Book. What you think is the Jungle Book is probably mostly like how Disney envisioned it. But this approaches things a bit different. And it's also very weird. For every decision that they made that I appreciate, like they made Khan like a bit of a weak tiger. So he's still a tiger. He's still menacing as all hell. But he's crippled because he was crippled in the book. And Colonel Hati is like this ancient elephant. He's like beyond all years. When you first see him, you'll be like, wow, that's an old elephant. This film has a lot going for it. I really like the camera work. I mean, like, I've probably mentioned this a lot of times in the past. I'm very visually oriented. I like when camera and angles and all stuff like that. There's a bit in a pond where Mowgli is swimming underwater, and it's one of the more suspenseful scenes in the film, and it's shot pretty damn well. The only downside is that, well, this is Andy Serkis, and as we all know Andy Serkis, he's like the mocap king. He was brought on for Lord of the Rings, and he was, put into Age of Ultron to help with Ultron, and he shot the Planet of the Apes trilogy, which was Oscar nominated at the very least, or probably it might have won an Academy Award, I'm not quite sure. So here we have Andy Serkis doing his Andy Serkis mocap, except they put them on animals that don't look like human beings. And they only do this for part of the animals. The elephants, they still look like elephants. The monkeys still look like monkeys, except when you look at Shere Khan and you see Benedict Cumberbatch's eyes. Okay, fair enough. Maybe Benedict Cumberbatch looks vaguely cat-like. But then you look at Bagheera the panther and you're like, that's Christian Bale. That's literally just Christian Bale. And then you look at Baloo, and Baloo looks like a drunk person who had a stroke, played by Andy Serkis with a receding hairline. Stuff like this make me laugh out loud quite a bit more than the film intended, and I'm not quite sure that is a good thing. Scenes that were played as being completely serious made me actually guffaw and chuckle quite a bit more than I think was meant to be. To me personally, this meant more enjoyment, but I can imagine that some people would be taken out by this certain uncanny valley approach. The music is great. The music in this film is quite terrific, but I kept getting distracted by the fact that it felt to me very Zelda. Like you literally hear like do 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 do, except in a Indian Hindi music kind of fashion. Although the cast is great, I'm not gonna lie, I loved Baloo. Baloo's always meant to be a bit of a comic relief. Bagheera was serious enough to be portrayed by Christian Bale. Kaa is terrific, as played by Cate Blanchett. There is a hunter who's like a white Englishman. His character's name is Lockwood, but I forgot the actor. He's not a very prolific big actor, but he's a good supporting cast. And you got Boot, and Boot is played by Andy Serkis's son, something Serkis, obviously. And he's quite fun. He's an albino wolf, and that's all I'm gonna say about the character. This film doesn't pull any punches. Mowgli gets pounced on, gets hurt, he actually gets bruised and beaten, and you know, other characters don't always end up, you know, in the same place you might expect. What you might think of as a fairy tale by now. So, warning, this might appear like a kid's film, but it will give your kids nightmares if you know, depending on how sturdy your kids are. I personally am happy I watched this film, but I can imagine that some people really wouldn't like it. So if I would do like a rating, I'd give this like a 2 out of 5 stars, but I don't do ratings on average. So take that with a grain of salt, depending on how you look at it. So yeah, please, social media things, comments down below, insults, don't subscribe, screw YouTube, algorithms are the enemy, take back the seized means of production, communism is the only way forward, eat the rich, I don't know my address anymore, I have been on a shit ton of medication. Hi, see you soon.
I am not a man!
Beep. Now I was gonna say, yo, he's still a shit Tarzan though, but apparently the Jungle Book predates Tarzan of the Apes by 12 years! 1894! I wasn't even born back then.